Hey everyone, welcome to another Outdoor Intrigue video. Today I wanted to talk to you about my Ultralight cook kit. This is my solo setup, but it's very much the same as what I carry when me and Megs go together. The only thing that would change is a slightly larger pot so we can boil more water at the same time, and Megs brings obviously her own spoon so we can both eat food at the same time. Now it's a minimalist and simplistic setup because I mostly take dehydrated meals when I'm out in the hills and the mountains, and all I need to do is boil water so I can rehydrate the meals, and boil water so that I can have hot tea or coffee, which is especially important in winter. It's a really nice comfort. In summer, obviously some people like to go stoveless. Personally, I still like to carry a stove because I like to have a warm meal in the evening. But yeah, let's jump into what I take. I'll show you each item and give you a little bit of a breakdown on it. First up, the all-important long-handled spoon. This is one made by Life Venture. Obviously there's lots of different companies that make these. This one's a titanium one, so it weighs in at 20 grams. You can pick them up for around £10 online, sometimes a little bit cheaper. And what I like about it is, number one, it's long. So when you're using dehydrated meals, you can get all the way into the bottom, which is always really nice. I have shorter spoons. I've even got a folding one, but whenever you have to use those, you generally get the food all over your fingers and it's just annoying. Whereas this is so much easier. And it also is nice because this one, although it's kind of a traditional rougher titanium material on most of the handle, the actual spoon bowl itself is a really nice glossy, like stainless steel kind of finish, so it's much nicer to eat off of. So yep, I've got one of these, Meg's got one of these. Definitely would say that these are favorite spoons to use by far. So next up, all importantly, your gas. I tend to go for one of these smaller gas canisters. They weigh in just over sort of 200 grams when they're full. Obviously the more gas you use, the lighter they get. This one's a Primus one, but personally I like the MSR ones and also the Coleman Extreme Mix. But any sort of propane isobutane mix, make sure it's a 4-season mix if you're going out in winter, because gas canisters, upright gas stoves tend to struggle more in cold weather. You can obviously help that by making sure you warm the canister up in your pockets or in your quilted sleeping bag just before you're about to cook. That way you're going to get the best gas flow for the longest. And next up is a little simple tripod that the gas canister fits onto to give it stability. You don't have to take one of these, but I find it really useful. It weighs in at 28 grams. I've had this one for years and you can pick them up for around £5 online. Very simple bit of kit for your cook kit here. It is a little piece of cloth. This one is cut from a microfiber cloth that I had at home. I normally, once they kind of start to die, then cut a new bit. This one weighs 5 grams, but you can make it whatever weight you want by just cutting it to whatever size you like. I find that to be a pretty good size. It's handy if you're picking up anything that's especially hot, or just for wiping or cleaning out little bits and pieces as you need to. And I find it quite useful to just have a little bit of cloth with you in case you need it. Next up is the stove itself. This is by a long way my favorite stove that I've been using for years now, and I would highly recommend to anyone. It's in a little bag because the only thing that can be slightly annoying with this stove is it has separate pieces. So this is the Soto Windmaster stove, and this is the little 3-pronged head for it. It does also have a 4-pronged head, but the 3-pronged head is more practical in most instances, and it just clips on like that. This stove is unbelievable. It works super well, and in windy conditions, which you'll often experience in the British Hills, but anywhere you can do, obviously, it works very, very well. It has a great gas regulator inside, which really helps in colder weather, but just in general, it means you can simmer if you want to, but also that you tend to get a much more consistent flow of gas irrespective of the temperatures, which is really helpful. Screws on top of your gas canister, light it up. When you buy them, they come with a little piezo igniter, so you can push a button and it creates a spark, which is very handy. Those naturally die over time. Mine died quite a long time ago. You can either replace them. It costs, I don't know, like something like £15 to buy a replacement one to screw on, or you can just take it off. I just took mine off and it saved me like 8 grams of weight, I think, something like that. So why not? And now I just use a lighter. So this is the little DCF bag from Treadlight Gear, which I've had for a very long time, and it's just handy because I can keep the stove pieces and the lighter all together. This is a mini Bic. They weigh 10 grams. Whatever lighter you like will work just fine. Mini Bics are great because they tend to last a very long time and they very rarely fail. So 65 grams for the stove, the little bag, 10 grams for the lighter. They all live in there together. It works brilliantly. You will struggle to find a better stove than this. I use this right throughout the winter. I've used it in -11 up in the mountains, colder even. As long as you preheat that gas, it's gonna work, and it is brilliant. You can pick up these stoves for about £40 online. You can pick up one of these Bic lighters for about £1. You normally have to buy them in a 5-pack for around £5. The DCF bag, I don't think Treadlight Gear is making them anymore, but when he does, they are brilliant. The pot itself, pot and lid in this case, this is an Avenue 570 mug pot, and basically it is a pot which is also shaped quite a lot like a mug. I find it extremely useful because it's enough water for you to rehydrate. Any of the dehydrated meals that you need to rehydrate don't generally need more than 500, they need a lot less generally than 570 mils. So it's more than enough. It's also a nice amount to have a really big cup of tea or coffee. It has a nice little bit of heat shrink wrap on the handles, so it helps you to not burn your fingers when you're lifting it up from hot. It's got a really wide base, so the heat is really well distributed when you're boiling water in it or cooking on it. It's really good, it works quickly, and it gives it a nice amount of stability. You can buy a lid for these, but why bother? You can make your own from tin foil. I mean, I would give you a cost, but I just stole some tin foil from my own kitchen and made a simple lid. And then I passed a little piece of cordage through the top so that it's got a little handle so you can lift it up as you like. The pot you can pick up online for around £40, and obviously just take the tin foil from your kitchen, size it up, fold it over, hey presto. The lid weighs in at 11 grams and the pot is extremely light, weighs in at 56 grams. Avenue titanium gear is amazing. It's made in Japan and they have extremely high manufacturing standards, and they create the lightest weight titanium kit that you can buy pretty much. So if I was going with Meg's, the only thing that we would change about this kit is I would take a larger pot to boil in. Generally I'd take a 750ml pot, so that's really all that changes. Otherwise, that's pretty much the Ultralight setup. In all, that is my Ultralight cook kit. It comes with me on pretty much every overnight trip I go on. I've tested all of these items considerably and found them to be of brilliant quality and able to be used in any of the environments that I've encountered right throughout all of the seasons. And I found that this is probably the best cook kit that you can put together, given that the weight in total is only 195 grams, excluding the gas. So for all of your core items, it's 195 grams in total. There's no jet boil that's that light. Boil times on this are going to vary. Anytime you see quoted boil times from things like jet boil, boils in 60 seconds, it varies depending on the wind conditions, the temperature, how much you've preheated your gas, all the rest of it. But I can tell you it boils water quickly. So there's no issue on that front. And most importantly, it works well, it's adaptable, it has longevity, it's simplistic, and I like it a lot. Hopefully you do too. Hopefully it's been a useful video. If you've got any questions about any of the cook kit, then leave it down in the comments below. Otherwise, please do think about subscribing. Check out some of our other adventures, gear reviews. Check us out on Instagram @OutdoorIntrigue. And as always, we appreciate you. Take care. We'll see you out on the trails.